What's going on, Jerome? Was Minnesota Vikings rightfully extended head coach Kevin O'Connell yesterday officially to a blockbuster multi-year deal. How much is it? 16, 17, 18 million per year, whatever. It was the right decision for the Vikings, as Kevin O'Connell has proven that he's the quarterback whisperer, just not in the playoffs. As well as building a culture with Kwesi of love and acceptance, but also of high standards and demands, something you love to see. And through 3 seasons, he's been one of the most successful coaches in the National Football League. Dare you say top 5, potentially, but not in the playoffs. Yeah, we will certainly get there. Don't worry. Also, I always want to think that this is an AI-generated image, except it's not. Which is fun to me. But here are 10 reasons why it was absolutely right for the Vikings to extend Kevin O'Connell, and he is the guy to lead the Vikings to Jerome Barty's in the next 10 years. Number 1, youthful exuberance. So even though he's been head coaching in the league now for 3 years, he's only 39, and he's someone who could be here for the long term. He could be this generation's Bud Grant, which you would absolutely love to see. Plus, continuity is so underrated in the National Football League. And you look at the bad teams that constantly have coaching, GM, player turnover over and over and over and over again. It's really tough to do in the National Football League, do that and have sustained success, right? And the Vikings have a chance to really build a foundation here with Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell long term, something that you would love to see. Number 2, he is a culture builder. So like we said, he and Kwesi have done some phenomenal things here in the building, going from the whole Zimmer and Spielman, we're not talking to each other, the fear-based, fear-driven organization that Kendrick said, but they play fun, fast, free football, and everyone wants to be here. People want to be in the building. They want to be around each other, and that is contagious. And that's something that will set the standard in the building and on the field. Number 3, he's not afraid to learn. Right? So Kevin O'Connell, you would think that a coach that comes in and wins 2/3 of his regular season games would all of a sudden get an ego and think that he invented football. That's not Kevin O'Connell, right? And we have been critical of his play calling at times, especially in the red zone, especially on 3rd down. But he is growing and learning as a head coach. He's learning as a first-time, full-time play caller, which is underrated too, because in Washington, when he was OC, Jay Gruden was calling plays, as well as when he was with McVay as OC. Obviously, it was McVay calling plays for the most part. So the last 3 years has been the only times he's been a full-time play caller as well. And that's a different skill set. All right. And he's learning to do that. He's learning to be a head coach. He's learning to manage an organization, all of that on the fly. And he's won 2/3 of his games. So that's pretty damn good. Next, number 4, he's a proven winner. Now, blah, 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 not in the playoffs, blah, 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 but give that time. And I understand that Bill Walsh won a Super Bowl in his 3rd season, but I don't know. I guess Kevin O'Connell just have to win one in his 4th. That's what happens. But you know how many coaches would just murder, like straight up end lives to win 2/3 of their games? A lot. Okay? O'Connell's 34-17, first coach in team history to have 2 13-plus win seasons. 14 wins this year. Didn't win the division. Give that time, and probably an injury or 2 away in 2023 from winning double-digit games that year as well. So there's a lot of things to like about the direction that Kevin O'Connell has to this team. Next up, number 5, pairs well with Kwesi. So you saw at the end of the Zimmer and Spielman regime that the lack of communication can definitely hurt the team. Like, it completely trickles down. And Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi have a great working relationship. They're on the same page for the most part. And when they disagree, it's for the benefit of the team. Like, the speculation is that Kevin O'Connell wanted to bring Kirk Cousins back last year. Kwesi said, okay, we'll bring him back at a certain price point. Cousins decided, like, we can get more in free agency, and he did with the Falcons. And that's one of those spots where they disagree, but it's for the benefit of the team. And that's exactly what happened. And I think that Kwesi is very good at procuring what Kevin O'Connell wants and needs, a la J.J. McCarthy, as well as same thing with Flores, who looks like he's going to be back for a 3rd season. So I think that communication up and down the chain of command is really fantastic, and plus it does permeate to the rest of the team as well. Next up, number 6, he is the quarterback. Oh, and also Kwesi should be extended long term. Like, I don't care. Oh, but what about the 2022 draft? What about it? It was 3 years ago. Yeah. He is the quarterback whisperer, like we said. So Stafford won a Super Bowl. Stafford hasn't won a Super Bowl without Kevin O'Connell. Not saying, I'm just saying. Then he got the best out of Kirk Cousins. He did some great things with the Passionate. Slinging Sammy Darnold had a 14-win season, Pro Bowl season, 35 touchdown, 4,300 passing yard season. And just imagine what he can do with J.J. McCarthy, because they will be linked up long term. And that's something that you need, because the two most important people on a football team are your quarterback and your head coach. How do they get along? How do they interact? Especially if your head coach is the offensive play caller. So the fact that we could have O'Connell and McCarthy together 10, 12, 15 years, baby. Just, again, continuity is huge. It's absolutely huge in the National Football League. I think the sky's the limit with those two. Number 8, players want to run through the wall for him. And what's great, too, is that O'Connell has proven that you don't have to just yell. You don't have to be negative. You don't have to be snarky. You don't have to do that. And still, you can treat your players like human beings, and you can be cordial with them. You can be friends with them. You can joke around with them, but also you can still have high demands for them. And that's exactly what Kevin O'Connell is doing. And that's why players want to come here. That's why the NFLPA report cards for the Vikings are consistently high, because it goes through every single level of this organization. Kevin O'Connell sets the standard, and the facilities are great. Every single person in this organization, whether it's a trainer, whether it's a chef, whether it's whatever, marketing, a writer, whatever, like, they want to bring their best because Kevin O'Connell brings their best. And that's exactly what happens. Number 9, coaches want to work for him too, because you look at the absolute collection of football knowledge as this team has. So you got Brian Flores, probably going to be back. Coach Daniels was great under John Bones Fossil, one of the best special teams coordinators in the league. You look at Wes Phillips. You look at Josh McCown. You look at all these other coaches. You look at Keenan McCardle. Absolutely love him. And guess what? The Vikings are probably going to bring most of these back. And really good coaches want to come work for Kevin O'Connell, because he wants them to get better jobs. He wants them to have upward mobility. He wants them to do this and that. Because on Wednesdays, all the coordinators would have a press conference. Flores, Phillips, Coach Hatt. That's not common in the National Football League, where a head coach is secure enough in his own ego where it's like, hey, I'm going to have my coordinators talk to the media, because guess what? Communication with the media and ipso facto the fans, it's one of the most important things for a head coach to do. And having these guys getting in those reps, obviously Flores doesn't need those reps, but it's really good for him to do that. And guess what? You're going to attract the best assistants to the great state of Minnesota, because they understand, like, Kevin O'Connell wants you to get a better job. O'Connell is not the type of coach that just wants you to stay forever under his thumb, and just work for him forever and just be a toady and a yes man. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want that, and that's why the Vikings get the best and the brightest. Lastly, number 10, Kevin O'Connell will win the Viking Super Bowls, and that's straight up. Or will it be a dozen in the next 10 years? Ideally, but dollars to donuts if and when Kevin O'Connell is here for the next 10 years. Same thing with Kwesi, same thing with J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings will win Super Bowls. They will bring championships here to the great state of Minnesota. The world's emptiest trophy case, with all the dust in there, is going to start filling up with silverware. Don't worry. Kevin O'Connell is the guy for the Vikings. I'm glad that the extension got done and dusted, because it was the most obvious thing for the Vikings to do this offseason and go from there. But that's it. 10 reasons why Kevin O'Connell is the guy for the Vikings moving forward. Let us know your thoughts. Our thoughts, comment section. You guys have best SEO to do. Skull production value.